Bringing you everything under the Disney umbrella. Network 1901.
Hey everybody, it's episode 17 of the DCC. That's right, it is going to be a good one. It's just me though, because we have Josh live in Disneyland every day up until the 27th for the grand opening of the Guardians of the Galaxy attraction at Disneyland. So make sure to go to make sure to be going to youtube.com/network1901 for daily live streaming straight from the park. It is so amazing. I am blown away that he's doing it, and it's been awesome so far. You get a little hiccups there, but you guys can understand it's live streaming from Disneyland, so the data's not always perfect, but it is totally worth it. And you don't have to if you don't have to be totally live. If you missed it, watch it afterwards, skim through it, and we're gonna do a highlight reel pretty soon. So it's going to be awesome. I'm really excited about that. And Shannon is busy celebrating a family's birthday, so we're going to do the episode solo, which is actually kind of a good time because there wasn't a ton of Disney news, and we talked about some stuff last week already, and we talked about Trump already, and that's kind of still happening, the Trump stuff. So this week we're just going to talk a bit about box office. We're going to talk a bit about YouTube. We're going to do the 4-in-1 on 1901. We're going to have a Marvel moment. I'm going to talk to you about Guardians of the Galaxy 2 and kind of some theory crafting I've been doing. And we're going to geek out. We had a question from Daniel, and he wants to know why Disney Animation and Pixar are still separate. Why not just combine them? Why have these two separate brands? I thought that was a great question. I kind of think Josh would be a good person to talk to about this, but we're going to just kind of think about it, and then maybe we'll come back to it next week. To all who have come to this happy place, welcome to the Disney Culture Club. It is episode 17 of the Disney Culture Club. I'm so excited. Thank you for joining me. I'm all by myself, so we're going to get personal this week, and which is nice because I think that the round table, like, we don't do quite a round table, but podcasts are so personal, you know, and it's nice to take the personal moment. So, okay, so Josh is in Disneyland right now, and boy, is it hard seeing him at Disneyland every day for me. And spending time with people that I want to spend time with, like Pop Mike and Angie, and you know, he's going on all the attractions and stuff like that. It's just, you really get to see this is the life he leads, you know, like this, he gets to do this every day, and he is going to be doing it every day until the 27th. So happy, like, but jealous, you know. It's okay to be a little jealous, a healthy amount of jealousy, but yeah, so we're going to do the solo show. I'm so excited for D23. D23 is coming up. I will be going there, which is awesome. And we will be going to the parks after D23. So D23, we're going to go to the convention, meet everybody. But I'll be at the parks afterwards. Shannon's going to be at the parks before. I'll be at the parks afterwards. So if you want to see Shannon, you can go to the parks beforehand, D23, and I'll be afterwards. So on the Monday and stuff like that. Doing exactly what Josh is doing right now, and I'm so excited. But let's talk a bit about the box office. You know, first off, Alien Covenant is not doing very well. It only made $36 million. And it kind of, leading up to it, wasn't getting some great reviews and stuff like that. So it makes sense, but I thought for sure it would have made, you know, at least $50 million. Even in the 60s, it's Alien. Alien is a pretty strong franchise, but maybe it was advertising or marketing. I don't know, but they just didn't do really that well. Guardians of the Galaxy still staying strong. Everything made all of its money back already, so good for it. We're gonna go see Diary of a Wimpy Kid tomorrow, and I'm excited for this. I'm fine that it was recast. I'm kind of sad that it's made $7 million. Like, I felt like maybe the kids who loved Diary of a Wimpy Kid, I don't know. Maybe they're not, I don't know, maybe people didn't like the change of cast, or maybe, I don't think it was advertised too strongly, so that's unfortunate, because I want to keep seeing these movies come out. But these films have a much stronger after theater market value, when it goes on iTunes and Netflix and stuff like that. So we could still see more of these because the money's not necessarily made in the box office gross. But super, super fun times. We're getting up to that time where everything's coming out. So Baywatch is coming out. It basically looks like 21 Jump Street, which is good for me. I love 21 Jump Street, so no big deal. But on the 26th, we have Pirates, which is going to be crazy. I think it's going to be good. I think it's going to be fun. Dash really wants to see it, so I'm going to make sure to go see that before we do the show, and so we can talk about it, because I think we've been kind of hard on Pirates, but you know what? There's not other Pirates movies running around. I want to, and I love that whole pirate era. I do think it's time to move off of Jack Sparrow, and I'm surprised there's no copycats. I want more pirate-oriented content that doesn't have to necessarily be Pirates of the Caribbean-esque, maybe something a little more serious. So there are TV shows like Black Sails, and I can't remember what the other one's called. But so there is that content, but it's expensive to film pirate films because just water and the boats and stuff like that. So I understand. But then also you got Captain Underpants, which my kids are going to totally want to see, and Wonder Woman. And the reviews for Wonder Woman, get this, have been really good. So I'm excited to see how that is. Wonder Woman's one of the best animated cartoons that's out there in the DC animated cartoon. One of the biggest problems with the DC live action films that are coming out right now is that their animated ones that they've been releasing for, about a decade were better. Like the Green Lantern story was phenomenal. They should have just done that, but it is what it is, so I'm like, it's huge. Like Baywatch, Pirates of the Caribbean, Captain Underpants movie, and Wonder Woman. Like those are 5 huge releases coming out in a week. I don't know where all the space and I don't know how people are going to find the time to see all these movies. Especially you got The Mummy coming out afterwards, which there are going to be some people interested in that. I'm interested in it. And then Cars 3. Like Cars 3 is just around the corner. Book of Henry also looks good, but Cars 3 is probably going to have a pretty big draw. People do love cars, so it's gonna be interesting. But with that, let's get on to the 411 on 1901. So this week on the network, we wrapped on Explain This Book to Me. We finished Winter and the Lunar Chronicles. We finished the entire Lunar Chronicles. There's some other side books that there are in it, but we finished, and it was really emotional. I was pretty distraught. So much stuff happened, but it was pretty satisfying at the same time. It does have that kind of it was just special. You might not think that the Lunar Chronicles is interesting, but if you know anyone who's reading the Lunar Chronicles or has read the Lunar Chronicles or anyone who might like it, suggest that podcast to them. Explain This Book to Me. It's on network1901.com under Explain This Book to Me. Shannon and I get better and better as we go, and it was a lot of fun, and we really enjoyed it. And people who like Lunar Chronicles have really enjoyed the show as well. So it's been awesome to do that, and I've really felt the love on Pinterest and Twitter, Instagram, all that stuff. So thank you so much for everyone who supported that show. That means The World That Never Was is coming out real soon, so that's really exciting. Everyone's super excited for The World That Never Was. And then Andrew and I are going to start recording Discovering Harry Potter, so be prepared for that. That's going to be so much fun. And then on Modern Mouse Radio, Josh had a Jungle Cruise, the Jungle Cruise skipper on his show, and does this great interview, and it's about how in the Anaheim area they do a stand-up comedy with people who were ex-Jungle Cruise skippers. It's great. They talk about the future of the attraction and how it should be handled, and I couldn't recommend it anymore, so check that out as well. And on YouTube, YouTube right now, Josh has a Rocket Raccoon theory about where he came from, and also we are live streaming every single day for 2 hours. We are live streaming. It is crazy. Josh is live right now, It is so much fun. I'm so excited for him. So today is day 3. It's Sunday while I'm recording, so it's Sunday, day 3, and he's from Frontierland. You can see on our Instagram, at Network1901, there is a full everyday itinerary of what land he's going to. But what's cool about it is when you show up onto the live stream, you can tell Josh what to do, where to go, what to see, and he will go do it in that area. So that is the thing. It's huge participation, huge interaction, and you get to be a part of the park experience because we all can't get there all the time. And it's been really cool. I've been participating. It's been so much fun. You know what? Let's tune in real quick to see what he's doing here. Oh, he's with Pop Mike, and they are at the Golden Horseshoe. Oh, so cool. We got a lot of people talking in the chat there as well. That's so cool. Oh, it's super, super cool. He's live there right now, and I'm glad that I got to share that with you. So that's what we're doing on YouTube right now, and that's going to go until the launch of the Guardians of the Galaxy Mission Breakout attraction, and you will get to see it before everybody. So it's going to be just such a cool experience. And at the end of this all, I think he's going to really realize he's made this huge catalog of 9 or so. No, it's more than 9 days, but a bunch of days at Disneyland Park, and in a way that not everyone's done. So it's just so cool. I love that we keep trying to figure out new ways to bring that Disney experience to you. So that was it for the 411 on 1901. Please leave a review. We got we've had 2 drawings. I don't know if you've seen these on our Facebook page, facebook.com/network1901. But Phoebe and Skylar have drawn just amazing pictures of us, which thank you so much to draw my ugly face. I really appreciate it. They're so cool. I love them. And if you can, everybody, please leave reviews on iTunes, Stitcher, Podbean, all those things, and share a video on YouTube or leave a comment down below. All that little bit of traffic really helps us become more discoverable, and we're kind of at that precipice where we're gaining just really great, a really great community, and we want to keep on building on that community. And so, please do what you can to share the love of the network. With that, I want to move on to a Marvel moment. And my Marvel moment is I've been thinking about this. So this is a bit of a spoiler, so not really though. But it's about Guardians of the Galaxy number 2. So if you don't want to hear any inkling of a spoiler, then don't listen. But if you are okay, this isn't really a spoiler. Like, it doesn't spoil much of the story, any of the story really. But at one point, Star-Lord says, "I see eternity." Okay, so that's it. That's what he says. I see eternity. So, so my theory on this, because a lot of people will be like, "Oh yeah, he sees eternity." Okay, like he saw eternity, he saw to the end of time, right? Because that's what eternity would be is to the end of time, where infinity would be to the end of space, or the vastness of space. But he says, "I see eternity, not infinity." So eternity is actually a Marvel character. There is eternity, death, oblivion, and infinity. And eternity and infinity especially are very important. Death is a bit of a different character, and Thanos has a bit of a relationship with death. It's actually why Thanos wants the Infinity Gauntlet, is for love. So, which it might change in the MCU, but so eternity is actually a physical being. And so it is very interesting to see if Star-Lord was talking about the eternity, the physical incarnation of time, right? Like, that makes, how can you see all of time? You can't. But you could see a character that encompasses all of time, and eternity is mingled with Doctor Strange and eternity and those these beings are a step beyond Thanos. So, but Thanos is trying to become one of them. So they do have a card to play in this situation. And so this is a full spoiler, so please pause, skip a little head 30, real quick. But we know that Star-Lord has new powers and abilities because of him being able to talk to Groot at the end of Guardians of the Galaxy #2, Volume 2. So we know that he's forever changed, and he might have other special abilities. And we know that the character Adam is coming along. And Adam is basically going to have the powers and abilities, or should have the powers and abilities that Star-Lord kind of gave up, in essence. Star-Lord gave up his immortality and gave up the blue energy power stuff, but that's kind of actually what the powers Adam had. So I'm really intrigued by this, if there is going to be actually that he saw physically the character Eternity, or it was just an offbeat comment. I don't know. It doesn't seem like they would just slip a comment in like that for no reason. So I don't know. I want to know what you think, though. So tell me down below, or send me a tweet, or go on Facebook and tell me, be like, "Nah, you wrong," or whatever. I don't care. It's just fun to do some theory crafting. But let's do This Week on YouTube. So this week on YouTube, my suggestion is John in Theory. John came up with a Guardians of the Galaxy, the real, but the title could be a spoiler, and he has spoilers and everything. But he talks about his Guardians of the Galaxy theory about ego, and I really recommend it. John in Theory. John Negroni is a really great guy, and so I highly recommend it. And that's all there is to say about it. And I don't have anyone to talk to, so we're moving along on this show. I don't think it's going to be too long of an episode. But we got to see Josh. That was fun. Maybe we'll check back in on the live stream. Yeah, you know what? Maybe let's do that. Because I'm gonna talk about one more thing, and let's see what Josh is doing. Oh, they're at the corral. They're shooting. Oh, that's cool. Man, there's a ton of people in the chat right now. Everyone's talking, and they're at the corral shooting stuff. So that's fun. That's awesome. That was fun checking in. Now, I want to talk about this. So, should Disney Animation and Pixar become the same thing? I think that's a fascinating question to ask. I think it's really interesting. And I have no idea which way I lean towards, because I think right off the bat, most of us would be like, no, you can't do that. You'll not only ruin Pixar, it'll be gone forever. You'll change Disney animation completely. And so I think that would be the initial reaction, I think. Also, I think Josh would probably be against it, because Josh has always pushed for Pixar and Disney animation need to make more of an effort to feel different, and so to visually look different, and to tell different types of stories. And they haven't done a great job of that recently, but that's mostly too because that Pixar is just doing sequels, but there's going to be a time where Disney starts to release all its sequels, and hopefully at that time we have more Pixar original content. And if that's the case, then I'm totally fine with this thing where one does some sequels for a bit, because it's nice to have a sequel, and the other one then starts producing original content, and then they switch back and forth. If that's the situation they get going on, I'm happy for the next 5 decades. So I think that you have the ability to do that. I hope that they work kind of more in sync that way. But would there be benefits to combining them? Well, I think in a sense, yeah, you would get the best of the best. But you probably would you would reduce a ton of your staff. There'd be redundancies, and maybe you would lose those few people who are up and comers, and like the space, you know what I mean? Like the space to have new people come on who have new ideas and bring something different to the table. And it is good to have similar groups with different leaders and different cultures, because they just bring something different to the table, you know? And Pixar really needs to start pushing the boundaries again. Inside Out is proof that we're super responsive to original ideas and concepts, and having them executed well. And that's what Pixar is all about. I'm so hopeful for Coco. I'm just concerned that the story won't have anything different to offer than Book of Life. Like, you know, like I'm worried that they're going to go at like it's going to be as, you know, not as deep as it can be. And I'm just worried about that, you know, because I kind of think now with Pixar, you kind of have to just like, there's Pixar movies and then there's the Pixar sequels. You know, like I think that they're almost kind of separate in a lot of ways. And I think that with Coco, I would say Bugs Life. So far, like Bugs Life, Brave, The Good Dinosaur are the original IP ideas that had kind of less than positive, like less than super glowing reviews, like kind of mixed reviews, like, you know, like 65 to 70% positive reviews. And, you know, for Coco to be that as well, you know, that's you're starting to get to a lot of movies that are not as well received. You know, Good Dinosaur has its reasons, and I actually think Bugs Life is a fine film. Like I don't know why people had problems with it. I think it wasn't quite Toy Story. So, you know, and that was the second film, but yeah, you know, I don't know. It's interesting. It's very interesting question. I want to know, like, I really want to know what other people think, because I don't know what would be best. Do you think it would be good for Disney Animation and Pixar just to become one studio, or is it better for them to work separately, but maybe synchronize how they work separately? You know, really use the full power of everything they have at them. I don't know. It's a tough question. I think keep them separate. But yeah, more planning between them, you know, like really making sure that, you know, when one's doing sequels, the other one's doing original content. You know, I kind of would like to see Pixar go back to a smaller than us kind of storyline. Or an alternate us, you know, I wouldn't mind to see like some anthropomorphic animals, or you know, I think there's other, you know, we've had toys and bugs and cars and monsters and a princess, and we've had the Inside Your Mind. So we've had feelings or emotions. You know, there's other things there. What about, you know, ghosts or stories? What about you know, something kind of similar to like the Never-Ending Story about the decline of the culture of story, you know, something like that. You know, I think that there is a lot more things that they could tell. Yeah, and Pixar should, like, that's what Pixar should be about. And I wish they had more of a stronger. That's the thing. Like with Pixar, the brand was so strong before. Like you knew exactly the type of film that you were gonna get and the quality, but now it's a little, there's more brand uncertainty. And then with Disney Animation right now, I think the brand is strong, much stronger than Pixar right now. So, you know, I don't know. It's a tough one, and I want to know what other people think. So please comment down below and tell me, or tweet me, or message me on Facebook. We talked about Trump last episode, and nothing like Trump to get people just wanting to say their piece, and we really appreciate it. And I got some messages on Facebook or Instagram Messenger, and you can do Facebook as well, or Twitter, or whatever. I don't care, but we can talk about it. I don't know. Seems to be a lot of drama about the fact that they don't want Trump to speak. And we've talked about our opinions on this. I think my concern, what I'm seeing, is that here's the thing. And I'm just gonna use Barack Obama because he's like the last president, but I can use this for everybody. I said a couple things incorrectly. I just want also to remind everybody, I am Canadian, and so I don't always know every exact detail about your country and the political system and how it works. And if you could tell me as much as I know about your country, I'd be really happy. So I get some stuff not correct sometimes, or just like kind of misinterpreted. It kind of gets lost in translation for us. One of the ones was I said that Nixon was impeached, and I also on Facebook, YouTube, I had said that Bill Clinton wasn't impeached. But actually, impeachment was just even the process. It's the process of being impeached. Like, an impeachment is going through the courts and stuff like that. It's not whether or not you were removed as president. But that's how we kind of have used it in Canada a lot of ways, and I feel like the same in the States, where you're like, oh, they should impeach him or whatever, right? And they're not saying we should give him a court trial. They're saying like we should get rid of him. So I used it in that term, and that was incorrect. But yeah, so just, I don't know everything about American politics, just as I'm sure you don't know everything about British politics or Indian politics or something like that, right? So we are different countries. So anyways, okay, so my thing that I'm concerned about with Trump supporters right now is that when Barack Obama didn't close Guantanamo Bay, Gitmo, I was hugely disappointed in that, because that was one of his platforms. Justin Trudeau, one of his major platforms was electoral reform, and he realizes that that's a lot messier, because when you change the electoral reform, normally what happens is the people in power are no longer in power, because the voting system, it changes and it's different, and it's made to make it so people who got in on the electoral college wouldn't have got in normally, right? Like, that's the idea. The idea is that you're trying to make people get in a more accurate way. And that often means that the people in power lose their power for a period of time. And so he doesn't want to make those changes. I'm very disappointed and frustrated by that. It doesn't mean that I'm asking for him to be removed as leader of the party, but you know what I mean? Like, that's frustrating. And also, there was supposed to be truth and reconciliation, and we still haven't really progressed that far with the First Nations, and I think that's an important thing to do. Anyways, I'm disappointed. I'm frustrated in those things and those promises that weren't kept. My problem right now that I am having with Trump supporters is they're not doing the same thing. They, like, the ones that have, like, they bailed, like, after the 100 days, or they had, like, voters' remorse. But I feel like the ones that are continuing to support are, and they might not be, but and this isn't, I'm not singling out the one person who talked to me on Instagram. I just want them to know that. I'm talking about in my experience from what I'm getting from all different places. It's just that you have to question your government. You have to make sure that your vote mattered for the things that you wanted to have happen. And if the things that you wanted to have happen aren't happening, it is okay to be disappointed in the person who didn't fulfill their promises. And I just am not seeing that. I feel like it's all very defensive. It's all very finger pointing. I feel like it's very blaming. Yeah, just like blaming everybody else. It's like, whatever. The guy, he hasn't done everything that he said he would do. He hasn't even started the process for a lot of things that he said he'd do. Do I want him to do most of those things? No, not really. But he hasn't even done them. I'm not even worried or upset by him because he hasn't done anything. And I think as a voter, if you voted for Donald Trump and you wanted those things to happen because you truly felt like that would make your country great again, then you should be hugely disappointed and you should be very frustrated in what's happening right now. So that's all I'm ever trying to say. Like, I don't care. It doesn't matter who you vote for. It doesn't matter what's going, that doesn't matter. We all live in the country. We're all, you're all Americans, or we're all Canadians, and we're all trying to figure this out together, and we have to do it together no matter who we put in power in the government. But if they're not doing those things, don't just defend the person, right? Like, you have to hold people accountable. Like, people need to be held accountable. And we're talking about that again because the news is continuing to talk about how Disney is not going to have Donald Trump talk as an animatronic. And it's a really big thing. People are really upset about it because, he should be respected like every president. But it's hard because... I get it. It's hard because, you should respect Trump as like we would have respected every president. But there were a lot of people who didn't respect President Obama. They, call him Obama. And, there were people who, didn't like... people who didn't respect George W. Bush or Bill Clinton. It probably started back with really Bill Clinton and that type of stuff. But yeah, and like there's things that I was upset with Bill Clinton, like reneging Glass-Steagall. Like that was it caused the economy to collapse like a decade later. So, you just hold people accountable. And I think Disney is a private company. If they don't want Donald Trump to talk in the Hall of Presidents, that's fine. They have every right to do that, and I feel they just need to kind of, be strong enough to be like, yeah, no, we just don't want this. We don't want it. We don't want him to talk. And two, he's not a great orator, like say Barack Obama, who, no matter how you feel about Barack Obama, he is a great orator, and Donald Trump, unfortunately, like, what's he supposed to, like, what's the president like this is the thing. What should the animatronic Donald Trump do? Should he go up and talk about Rosie O'Donnell and how he thinks she's grotesque? Is he supposed to go up there and talk about China? Is he supposed to go this is not hate. This is an observation. He doesn't talk about, there's no great quotes that I would want to put in an animatronic in the Hall of Presidents. There's no 7 years ago, or there's no, there's, right? Find me a great presidential quote, like just something that really rings like a true president, a Donald Trump quote, and then maybe they could use that one. But I just don't know if there's been a really great quotable moment. So I think Disney can do whatever they want with that, right? I think they're a private company. They don't owe anything to anybody, really. And if they don't want their attraction to have words, they don't have to. And you should, if you're a Disney fan, you should support them in their decision, just as much as everyone else is supports everybody in their choices, right? Because that's what democracy is. It doesn't always go the way you want it to, but we just have to support each other. And we're like, okay, this is the situation we're in, and how do we still try to achieve the goals that we want to achieve? So it's important to do that stuff. Yep, so I thought I would get onto some sort of soapbox or something by myself because I have no one to talk to. And it would happen. All right, before we wrap up the show, let me get just a little bit personal with everybody. So you're probably wondering, what's Dale going to talk about now? I'm going to talk about Disney and talk about why I just like feel so connected to Disney right now. And to be honest, Disney is now becoming this totally different thing in my life. And it's because of you, the listeners and the viewers. You have really, like, this experience of having a podcast and a YouTube channel. If it never even grows anymore from this moment, that doesn't matter, because I get to talk to you, and we get to have this place of acceptance and we get to be included. We're so inclusive. Like talking about Trump. Like, politics is a really tough subject for people to talk about. And people talk to us about it with grace and intelligence. And I appreciate it so much. And there's no bad blood because of it. And that's such a healthy thing to have. And it's because of you, the listeners, that we're able to have this, or to, people drawing pictures of us. Like, what? Not worth it. Not worth your time to draw a picture of us. We're just trying to create like this community where we all feel safe and can love Disney and talk about all the things that encompass the world really now. And you guys have just really, really made it. Disney is becoming even more special to me. Like, I'm even more connected to it. D23, like, what do people like? Normally, it's like, I'm excited to hear this announcement. Like the Volcano Mountain. Yeah, I'm super excited about that. Even the fact that it might be Moana theme, even more excited. But what I'm really excited is to see people and you guys, like everybody. Like, it's going to be so exciting. And I think why is that when I was a kid, I was really lonely. I went to 12 elementary schools. I moved around a lot. And so I didn't have a ton of friends for long periods of time. Like, I could make friends but then you just, it was hard to maintain long-term relationships for me growing up until I graduated high school. Like, I didn't know how to just maintain a nice relationship with somebody. So, because I didn't have to, every 3 to 6 months, I'd move on to another place and wouldn't have to worry about the things I said or done, or didn't know if people would like me for a long period of time. And so it was really hard to create long-term relationships for me. And, Lion King and Aladdin and Tailspin and DuckTales and Darkwing Duck and Bonkers and Goof Troop and those were my constant, Beauty and the Beast, Rescuers Down Under, Great Mouse Detective. I watched like so much. I love Great Mouse Detective. Like, it was my introduction into Sherlock Holmes, and they were always there for me. Knowing that stuff always made me able to make friends, because I just had that type of knowledge of stuff, and people found it impressive or whatever, when you're a kid. And microphone. And so, the fact that Disney was there for me as this lonely kid who my mom wasn't, like, I lived with my mom, and she started like having issues with being at home long periods of time. So when I was 10 or 11, I used to stay home alone, like by myself for a long period, like I'm talking like more than a day. and or she may have been home, but she was in her bed and I never saw her. Like, I would go to sleep with her not home, wake up where she might be sleeping in her bed, and go to school and come home and she wasn't home. So, and I would just go back to, watching, Beast Machines or Beast Wars or whatever it's called for where you live. And Beasties, it was called here. And, and Reboot and stuff like that. And, but now, like, Disney was there for me when I was this lonely kid. But now, I'm trying to collect and help bring together people who feel alone. Like, that's what I want. Like, I want us to be a group of loners, really. And I'm seeing it on YouTube. People are talking with Josh and participating, and we can feel together. And that's like, the fact that you listen or have left a review or drew a picture of us or asked us a question or shared with a friend or whatever. The fact that you do those things, why it means so much to us is because that means we're growing that community of people. And I guarantee, and you must know if you listen, Shannon, definitely a person who feels alone sometimes. Josh, definitely a person who feels alone sometimes, even though he could be surrounded those aren't my kids screaming. If you can hear the screaming, those aren't my kids. They're just kids that are apparently allowed to scream in the hallway. And so, it's just so special right now. And I want to say thank you to everybody from the bottom of my heart. I hope I get to meet most of you and all of you. And I hope that, when we do talk about stuff, that it's always coming from a place of inclusivity and sorry. That really, of course, right? When else? When else? Anyways, thank you so much for being a part of this community. We truly do appreciate each and every one of you for who you are, and keep being who you are. Keep being open-minded to other ideas. Who I am and my ideas I had have always changed, and they always will be changing. And always try to love everybody you can, even if they don't agree with you. And with that, I am ending episode 17, the first solo episode of the Disney Culture Club. It was, I don't know if I'd say it was fun. It was something, but I appreciate it, and thank you so much for taking your time to listen to us and watch our show. Bye, double hand wave.